342 days. That's how long it took me to admit something I didn't want to admit. I was addicted to a version of myself that didn't exist. Not drugs, not alcohol, a little glowing rectangle in my pocket that convinced everyone else had it figured out, and I was the only one falling behind. So one night at 11:47 p.m., broke, exhausted, and honestly a little bit angry at myself, I deleted everything. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of it, gone. What happened in the next 90 days changed how I see my entire life. And if you've ever felt like your phone is running you instead of the other way around, stay with me, because this isn't a digital detox video. This is what it actually costs and what it actually gives back. Let me back up. My name's Nick. I'm 30, and 2 years ago, my mornings looked exactly the same every single day. Wake up, phone, scroll, compare, feel behind, get out of bed already exhausted, and I hadn't even done anything yet. I worked a job that paid $19 an hour. Rent alone was $1,450 a month for a place I was mostly just sleeping in. And every night I'd come home and watch people my age, some of them younger than me, living lives that looked like they'd already won. I told myself I was just keeping up, staying in the loop. But if I'm honest, I was addicted to the feeling of almost being enough. It started bleeding into everything: work, sleep, even conversations with people I actually cared about. My screen time that month was averaging almost 6 hours a day. That's basically a part-time job, except instead of getting paid, I was paying with my attention, my sleep, my self-esteem. I started noticing things about myself I didn't like. I'd feel a flash of jealousy over someone's vacation photo, then feel guilty for feeling jealous, then scroll more to distract myself from the guilt. It was a loop, a trap with no exit sign. And the worst part, I wasn't even having fun. I was just numb, scrolling because stopping felt worse than continuing. That night, I saw my bank balance right before I saw someone's new car post. $214 next to a stranger's $60,000 truck. Something in me just snapped. There's a specific kind of tired that isn't physical. It's the tired of performing a life you don't even have. I looked at my own profile that night, a photo from 8 months ago, smiling at a friend's wedding, captioned something like, "Grateful for good people." And I remember thinking, I don't even remember being happy in that moment. I remember being anxious about how the photo would look. I'd built an entire highlight reel of a life I wasn't actually living, and somewhere along the way, I'd started believing my own performance more than my own reality. That's rock bottom, not some dramatic collapse, just quietly realizing you've been lying to yourself for 2 years, one post at a time. I didn't cry, I didn't scream, I just felt hollow, like I'd been running a race with no finish line, against people who weren't even really running. And then, somewhere in that silence, a different thought showed up, quiet but clear. What if the problem isn't me? What if the problem is what I'm comparing myself to? I didn't have a grand plan. I didn't have some perfect 5-step system. I just had one small, almost stupid idea. What if I just left? Not a break, not muting notifications for a week. Actually deleting the accounts, burning the highlight reel to the ground. It felt insane. It felt like giving something up. But honestly, it felt like the first real decision I'd made in months that wasn't influenced by someone else's highlight reel. At 11:47 p.m., I deleted the last one, and then I put the phone face down on the table and just sat there in the quiet. Day 1 was brutal. Not because I missed the content, because I missed the habit. My thumb literally didn't know what to do with itself. I reached for my phone 40, maybe 50 times that first day, not to check anything specific, just reflex, like my hand had a mind of its own. By day 3, I started carrying a small notebook. Every time I felt that itch to scroll, I'd write down what I was actually feeling instead. Bored, anxious, lonely, avoiding something. Turns out I wasn't addicted to the apps. I was using the apps to avoid feeling things I didn't want to feel. That was uncomfortable to realize, but it was also the first honest thing I'd learned about myself in a long time. By day 7, the itch was still there, but quieter, and for the first time I noticed things. The actual sky, the actual conversation happening at the next table, my actual life running in the background the whole time. I wish I could tell you it was a straight line up from there. It wasn't. Week 3, I had a rough stretch. Car needed a repair. $340 I didn't have budgeted. Work cut my hours. And for a second, the old craving hit hard. Just check Instagram. Just see what everyone's doing. Just escape for 10 minutes. I almost re-downloaded it. I actually had my finger on the button, and I sat there arguing with myself for almost 2 full minutes. What stopped me wasn't willpower. It was remembering that photo, the wedding photo, and how empty I felt looking at my own fake happiness. I didn't want to go back to performing. Even with less than $200 in my account, at least the anxiety I was feeling now was real. It was mine. It wasn't manufactured by a feed designed to keep me scrolling. That's the moment I understood. Quitting isn't a single decision you make once. It's a decision you keep making, especially when things get hard. By day 45, something had shifted, quietly but completely. I started sleeping almost 2 extra hours a night. Turns out, doom scrolling until 1 a.m. was stealing more from me than I ever admitted. I started cooking instead of ordering delivery, which quietly saved me almost $220 a month. Small number, big difference when your bank balance is $214. But the real change wasn't the money. It was that I stopped performing my life and started actually living it. I picked up an old hobby, sketching, that I hadn't touched in 3 years because I didn't have time. Turns out I had 6 hours a day. I just wasn't giving it to myself. I called my mum for the first time in weeks, not a text, an actual call. We talked for 40 minutes. I didn't even think about my phone once. That's when it hit me. I hadn't lost anything by deleting those apps. I'd gotten myself back. 90 days, no Instagram, no Twitter, no TikTok. And somewhere in that silence, I built a version of my life I actually wanted to compare myself to, instead of a stranger's highlight reel. I'm not going to pretend everything is perfect now. I still have bad days. I still check the time and realize I've been staring at the wall for 20 minutes, doing nothing. I'm human, not a highlight reel. But here's the difference. I'm not measuring my life against people I've never met anymore. I'm measuring it against who I was 90 days ago. And that guy, he's actually proud of where I'm at. I eventually re-downloaded one app just to keep in touch with family overseas, but I never went back to the scroll, because I finally understood the difference between using your phone and your phone using you. If you're watching this at 11 p.m., phone in your hand, feeling like everyone else has it figured out except you, I need you to hear this. They don't have it figured out. They have a highlight reel. You have a life. Those are 2 completely different things. You don't have to delete every app tonight. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your phone, but I am telling you, pay attention to how you feel after you scroll. If it's emptier, not fuller, that's your answer. Start smaller if you need to. Delete one app for 1 week. Put your phone in another room for your first hour awake. Notice what your mind does when it's not being fed a highlight reel every 4 seconds. That's where you'll find yourself again. If this hits something in you, hit subscribe, because Nick versus the World is about exactly this. Real struggles, real numbers, real change. No fake guru nonsense. And drop a comment. What's one thing you'd do with an extra 6 hours a day? I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself, for real this time.